in Hong Kong at the time, and I think I do explain most of it on stage. When you watch the video, I do explain how it came about. But we had such a good time in Hong Kong, and that was the funny part. You know, when you have the funny parts where you laugh that much, you can't get your breath. We'd done a show at the Arts Centre, and on the way back to the hotel, we decided to walk. It was a lovely, lovely evening. And as we walked past the top road, what they call the top road, the road off the prom, they had a market, and we were walking through the market. And, you know, I'll tell you what about the Chinese. They do, when they say livestock, they mean it. There's things there you would never see here. You know, I mean, they had animals in cages, and when people order something, they just actually put the hand in the cage and tear its head off and put it in a bag like we would fish and chips. And in fact, I thought of a really good gag when I was there, because the next night when I walked on stage at the Arts Centre, I said, saw a little Chinese lad today, he was stroking his dog, and his mum said, "Don't play with your food," which went really well. So, but that particular night we were going back and we were walking through the market, and all these little side streets were brothels in. And because the women were trying to attract you in, you know. Because we wore these hats, the baseball caps. This madam was shouting, "You're American, you're American." I said, no, we're from England. "You come in, bro job. €5, bro job," you know, whatever it was, dollars I think it was, Hong Kong dollars. And I said, no, thanks, pet, if you don't mind. I said, "I'm married with kids." I said, "I'm taking a rash home, you know." "Oh, you're calm, you're flocky." Oh, Jesus wept. But they like that, you know. And I mean, it wasn't just one brothel. You had 40 brothels in one street. And you just got fed up of saying, no, we're not interested, pet. You're all right, we're not interested. Just got fed up of it. And I think it was about the 4th or 5th bar we passed. This woman was adamant she wanted us in. Don't forget there's 6 of us walking along. She said, you come here, you nice girl, you American. I said, no, we're from England. We don't participate. Any road. I thought of a funny line. I said, "I don't like women. I'm gay." I'd only walked about 10 yards, and I heard this voice say, "Flock off. You're too fat to be gay." Well, we pissed ourselves laughing. And at the end of it, I mean, when you think about it in this day and age, it's not offensive, is it? Too fat to be gay. And they say, well, you know, the gay community might be offended by it. They won't be. Because over the 40-odd years I've been in show business, I've met so many homosexuals. I worked with Lee Sutton, Frank Fufu Lamar, Diamonds Lamar, Danny LaRue, just to name but a few. And their figures are fun. They put themselves on stage. They ridicule themselves, so they're not going to be offended by it. I think it's only the closet gays that might say, "You had no right to say that." We started off in Australia. We'll go to Australia first. Now, I'm doing a comedy club, and it's right underneath the bridge, Sydney Harbour Bridge. And I'm talking to the audience, and I'm telling them that my father, which is true, worked in British Steel, that made the metal that built the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And they didn't put me on till about, I think it was 11:30. And I had to get changed in the kitchens. And we had these Chinese cooks in the kitchens chopping carrots and chopping potatoes. And I'm stood there hanging my suit on the fridge, you know, and they're asking me to move across while they were doing burgers and chips. And I was eating all the profits. You know, I went on, did about 40 minutes to complete noise and abuse. The noise was deafening. And a fight broke out. Now to do with me. A lot of Australians, a lot of Brits, you know, drink. One thing led to another. And I said, well, how are we going to get back to the hotel? There was only one door in the club, one door out. And we had to climb out the window. Well, I'm a fat bastard. And I'm trying to get through a window this big. And Richie, my tour manager's pulling me one way. Come on, let's get out. And the bloke who wants me to go back on and do another spot's pulling me the other way. And I've got my goalies caught on the catch of the window. They were just happy days, you know. Over the years, so much has happened with Ireland. I mean, just a month ago, I was sent to do a show in Belfast. And I don't like flying, it's well known. I even talk about it on stage. And we're flying into Belfast. And we're just about to touch the runway. You can see the tops of the sheep. We're just about to touch the runway. Suddenly the plane, woof. Well, I shit myself. Up we went. Now, pilots don't normally tell you if there's something wrong, do they? He only come on and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry about that." He said, there was a service van on the runway. I mean, they don't normally tell you that. Typical fucking Irish. Drove a van on the runway. And then he went round again so he could land again. And it was a windy day. Yeah. I think I was up there thinking, I'd have rather hit the van. And you know, they don't realise how funny they are. Because when I went to change my money in the airport lounge, they had that Bureau of Exchange. I had £100 in English notes. And I said to the woman, "Could you change that for me, dear?" And she went, "Yes, I can. That's right. I can, sure." I said, just as a matter of talking, I went, "Well, how many euros do you get the pound?" She said, "It doesn't matter. You've got enough for the weekend." like it had anything to do with it. You know. And then when we were in Belfast, and I wanted to go on the lottery because it was a rollover. And I went to the, on O'Connell Street, they had like a cabin. And there was a bloke just sat there, flat cap on, wood bar in his mouth, coughing away. I said, "Can I have a go on the lottery, mate?" "That you can." I said, "How much is it this week then?" And this is exactly what he said. He went, "I'm fucked if I know." Does it matter? We got in a taxi, and the taxi driver, because we said we wanted to go back to this hotel, he had to do a U-turn in the high street. And as he's doing a U-turn, there's a car behind. Beep, 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 beep. The taxi driver made me laugh. He opened the window and went, "Hey, save your fucking horn for your wife." One story, I've got to tell you this. We arrive at a caravan park with its own little club in Scotland. And when we arrived at the gatehouse, because we were given a caravan to stay in, chap said to me, "The site manager would like a word with you, Roy." So I went to the office and he said, "Chubby, your reputation goes before you. Apparently you can be very, very offensive. Your material is neither knuckle, etc., etc." We went through this whole rigmarole. He said, "Now, what I would ask you why you're here, because I know you've got a couple of lads with you, and I know you have a good time, and I know you like a drink. We've had them here before, we've had all the bands here before, we've had all the duos, all the groups, and we would ask you if you would just calm it down a bit." I said, "You won't get any trouble from us, mate." I said, "Because the last thing we need the work. We don't need a reputation of being a bad band or anything, and I'm a bad comic." So, anyway, that was on the night. The next morning, the communal showers and toilets were right opposite his office. And I went to the toilet on the morning. And I sat down on the bog. And a wasp stung me on the arse. And I ran out of the bog shouting, "You fucking..." So I'm stood outside this communal shower cum toilet, trousers round my ankle, me tadger blowing in the wind. It was a stiff wind. And I looked up and he stood in his office window going, try and talk your way out of that one. You know, sometimes somebody's so funny and they don't mean to be, and you're choking on your laughter. That happened to me. It was a Sunday dinner time. I'll start from the beginning. I'm sat in my flat. Phone rings. Poor Brian's passed away now. He was the agent at the time. Brian said, "Will you do Middlesbrough TUC Club?" I said, "When?" He said, "Today. The comics rang in sick. He's lost his voice." I said, "Brian, I was only there 3 or 4 weeks ago." I said, "The act's going to be the same, you know." I said, "I've only got about half a dozen new jokes." He said, "Well, they'll give you an extra £5." I said, right, I'm there now. Straight in the van, straight to the club. Walked in the club. As I walked in, they'd already put my name up in coloured chalk. By popular demand, Chubby's back. Underneath it said, with the great Enrico. Now, if you're out like me, you know, Mario Lanza, Caruso, the great Enrico, I would have thought it was a tenor, you know, one of them. So I didn't see the bloke come in. I'm stood at the bar with Brian. Brian had met me at the club. We were having a couple of pints. The club is packed with hairy-ass scaffolders, riggers, fitters, tarmac workers. You know, not a decent face amongst them. Also. So, George on the organ, Bill on the drums. And it starts. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Everybody's reading the papers. You know, no, Sunday Dinner Times was shite. As regarding an artist would tell you that. Any artist would tell you that. The music starts. Bum 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 bum. Good afternoon, gentlemen. First on stage, before the bingo, before the raffle, before Chubby Brown, I'm bringing you the great Enrico. Put your hands together. Not one clap. Comes on, you could hear the hairs on your fucking legs growing. So he goes to me. Apparently he was from Glasgow. Well, all looking up at the stage. Unbeknown to me, he was a magic act. And unbeknown to me, before the show had started, he must have gone out in the audience and give him props, you know. He said, he'd done a few things with cars. He said, has anybody got an apple? And this bloke shouted out, what? Have you got an apple? He's nodding at him, because you obviously gave him an apple earlier on. And the bloke shouted, I've had it. You know, it was like, he'd had half his act. So, apparently these magic acts, they push a fiver inside the apple, you see, and they do it in the dressing room, and then they break the apple, and there's a fiver there, you know, and he marks the ads. I don't know how to do it. That's Paul Daniels, anyway. So this bloke shouts, I've had it. He went, oh, you're a bastard. You know, and he says, anybody got an egg? And another bloke shouted out, you know fucking well we haven't. You'd have got it 10 minutes ago. Well, this was just getting so funny. This was just so, you know, I'm stood at the bar with Brian, and we got the giggles at first over the apple, right? Then he starts this fire eating, like strippers do. He's dipping this, like, drumstick in this material, and flames are coming out. And he's burning himself. I could smell the hairs on his arms burning. Dun, 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 dun. And some clever bastard in the balcony, because there was a small balcony in the TUC. It was only about 12 feet from the main tables and chairs. He must have said to his mates, watch this. He went, oh, Jock, give us a light. And by now, this Enrico is totally pissed off, fed up. And he dips his tongue and he went, and this fucking flame come out. Fucking scorched this bloke's hair and his eyebrows. He went from a white lad to fucking Al Jolson within about seconds. Well, the club by now is in hysterics. You know, I mean, we just wasn't practiced. It was just total anthem. And this bloke is like on fire. He's just scorched. Well, his mates were pissing themselves laughing. So anyway, it was then they had the raffle, and I'd gone into the dressing room to get me gear on, and there's a bang on the dressing room door, and this fella stood behind me, this Enrico. I said, I tell you what, mate, if you bottled that act, you'd be the biggest star this country's ever seen, because that was so funny. And I opened the dressing room door. There's about 6 lads stood there. So this lad whose hair's on fire, he stood there with his lads. And the steam's coming off his fucking head. And his eyebrows have... And he went, is that bastard in, Chubby? I went, he's just getting changed, mate. He said, I want to see him. I said, he's just getting changed. He said, look, I don't want any trouble with you, I want to see that fucking bastard. Oh, and he was, did that a drink, you see? I went, no, I said, hang on. So I said, just a minute, I just get, and I shut the door and I said, you better get out. He said, what? I said, you better get out the back door now. I said, there's 6 lads here, you're going to knock fuck out here. And I've got hold of the door. After a couple of seconds, I heard him say, let him in. So I didn't look behind me, you see. And I thought, let him in. They'll kill you. They'll kill you. He went, let that bar get the key. I thought, he must be a fucking hard case, this. So I opened the door, and these lads come in. But I didn't know that in his second spot, he works with a python, 20-foot python. And he's got this snake round his neck, and he's got the head in his hands, see, like that. Have you ever seen anybody lose the bottle? Anybody's going to kill you, but then realise you're Jeff Capes. They realise you're Mike Tyson and go, sorry, mate. You come in, this lad, and he's full of it. He's full of it. He went, oh, you. He said, is that a snake? And the snake said, and Jock said, hey, it is. He went, what? A real fucker? I was behind the door. He went, yeah. Do you want to stroke it? He went, no, you're all right. And all these lads were like backing towards the door. And he said, that's not fucking funny, and ran out of the door. So when he went out the door, I said to this fella, I said, where was that snake? He said, it was in that basket. I said, you twat, I've been sat in that fucking basket the last 20 minutes. So not only did the blokes run out the dressing room, I was behind them. Hey, but what a funny day that was. My face was aching laughing.